Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the morning stream here on the Den of Nerds Live, the very best way to start your nerdy day. On today's show, of course, we have to talk about what you see in the thumbnail. Absolute insanity. Apple looking to possibly purchase Disney. How's that even possible? What could it mean? We're going to break it all down and talk about that. There's also a very interesting little story about Universal and what Universal might be doing with their movies, which leads us to believe that Black Widow could indeed be getting a home digital release as opposed to a theatrical one and stay in its current dates. That is pretty wild. We're, of course, going to go over Q&A as well. How's everybody doing this morning? I do want to say I apologize about no intro video today on the stream. I was running right up against the stream, calculating the winner of the battle bracket. Okay, this is the closest battle bracket that we've had, and it took a bunch of counting, a bunch of recounting. This thing was so close that Al Gore called me and demanded a recount. So I apologize about that, but how's everybody doing this morning? I see you guys in here. Yinzer, Jim, Maverick, Captain Pennsylvania, Thomas, David, Justin, Hector's in here, Super Thor, Travis, Complex Half, Violet, Coachella Coastal, Thomas, Will, Dan the Man's here, Mark Fryer's here, Bill and Maverick as well. How are we doing, everybody? I want to know how you're doing. Who won, Captain Pennsylvania? I'm about to tell you. I'm going to tell you in just a second here. Let's let the suspense build a little bit. But how's everybody doing this morning? How are you making it? Strange times, ladies and gentlemen. Strange times. Recount for the battle bracket. Whoa. Mr. Deed 117. Can I get a shout out, bro? Yes, you can, Mr. Deed. There you go. There's your shout out, my friend. And I don't know what the 117 means, but hopefully it means that you're from Spartan 117 or whatever, from the Halo franchise. I'm a big fan of the Halo franchise. Going to work later, so hey, I got some people in my life that I know that are going to work as well. Probably just going to work to be told that they don't have a job anymore or something like that. I'm sorry. That's not very funny, but that's like the state of the world that we are in. Craziness. Your gym closed until April 1st? Dude, my gym's closed till April 1st, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I was like, I mean, I guess I understand. You know what I mean? I really do. But yeah, strange stuff. Guys, we're going to have plenty of time for Q&A today. It is, there's just a lot going on. You know, Ryan was supposed to be on the show this morning. He's dealing with a lot of different things, calling people, health board stuff, all this crazy stuff. So look, things are a little bit scattered a little bit, you know, but we're going to get it going. Trinity says, I work from home. Guys, I work from home too. I don't know if you realize this, but most of the YouTubing I do is from home. So yeah, a lot of us are going to be working together on this. So check this out, ladies and gentlemen. The battle bracket competition between Lord Frieza and Lord Voldemort. Two lords going up against each other. Very interesting. This vote was decided by less than 10 votes. Less than 10 votes. Oh, I see you, Wandering Dog. I got you, brother. Look, we're behind on a couple of different things. I know I've got to get in touch with a couple of people, so I got you. Look, this vote was decided by less than 10 votes. Chet, what is the deal with this music? Look, can we get something a little more chill going on here, please? There we go. Okay, that's more calm. That's more calm for me. This was crazy. Okay, so let me break this down. On Twitter, Voldemort had a slight lead. Okay? When we looked at it last night on the community tab, Frieza had a slight lead there. Voldemort had a slight lead on Instagram. Now, literally in the last couple of hours, that shifted. Okay? So, Frieza took a slight lead on Instagram. The lead on Twitter was shrunk. And then on the community tab, this is where it gets really interesting. It is literally neck and neck, about a % difference, but the slight edge was to Frieza. And because there were 1,500 people that voted on the community tab, that small percentage increase actually gave the win to Lord Frieza. Frieza is the winner of this round of the battle bracket. So I know the Dragon Ball fans out there are going to be pumped about that. I know that there's been some contention about how it's all going down. But Frieza wins this round of the battle bracket. Lord Frieza is moving forward into the next round. Ladies and gentlemen, by less than 10 votes. And you guys realize you can vote multiple times. You can vote on Twitter. You can vote on the community tab on YouTube. And you can vote on Instagram. And so technically, if it's some people that are voting 3 different times, it's only 3 different people that made the difference between this. So Lord Frieza moving on to the next round. Today's matchup, I believe, is Agent Smith. Or no. What's today's matchup? Somebody help me out. This is how ill prepared I am. I was literally too focused on counting. Ryan, Chet, somebody help me out. Who's doing the battle bracket today? Who's fighting? I think, is it Thanos and Vader, or is it Agent Smith and somebody else? Who's fighting today? Chat, I need your help. Thanos and Sauron. Okay, Thanos and Sauron. I feel ill prepared this morning too. Don't really even know why. Everything's fine. Thanos, Sauron. Thank you, Ryan. My man. Thank you so much. Okay, so Thanos and Sauron. That's going to be a very interesting one. I got to be honest. I think Sauron is totally screwed. I think the Thanos votes are going to be dropping like it's hot. But we'll see. There could be differences. There could be some swings. You never know. All right, folks, let's get right into the first topic of today. This, look, let's just talk about it. It's wild. It's the craziest news of the day. Yo, this news is crazy. Apple could buy Disney amid stock drop. Holy mother of pearl. And this is coming from a lot of different places, not rinky-dink clickbait websites. I'm on the Hollywood Reporter right now reading from the Hollywood Reporter, but Yahoo Finance has chimed in on this. A lot of reputable people have chimed in on this. I'm going to read right from the Hollywood Reporter article, and then we will talk about why I think this actually makes sense and why I actually think it might happen. And also why Bob Iger is probably the luckiest man on the planet. He got out while the getting was good. Okay, check this out. Mega cap companies with large cash balances and whose equity outperformed Disney over the past 3 weeks, like Apple, could take advantage of the volatility as the thing that shall not be named hits Hollywood stocks. With stock markets battered by the thing that shall not be named, and shares of entertainment giants hit hard, some on Wall Street have started wondering if cash-rich technology powerhouses could consider takeovers of Hollywood companies. Rosenblatt Securities analyst Bernie McTernan, in a Friday research report, for example, suggested that Apple, led by Tim Cook, could consider acquiring Walt Disney Company, led by Executive Chairman Bob Iger and new CEO Bob Chapek. Bob Chapek is that guy like going around there's like, oh, I got this really cool job. Oh, wait, the world is melting? No! You know, what a time. What a time to be promoted. After its stocks dropped below the $100 mark last week. We believe those with long-term horizons, like mega-cap companies with large cash balances and whose equity outperformed Disney, could take advantage of the volatility. He wrote, noting that Disney's market capitalization was approximately $165 billion, while Apple has about $107 billion in cash and securities. The upside from acquiring Disney would be securing their content for streaming strategies and the potential synergies from adding the emerging Disney ecosystem into the iOS platform. I got a lot to say about this. I think it could actually be pretty brilliant. Apple didn't respond to a request for comment. McTernan went on to highlight that over the past 3 weeks, Disney has lost about $85 billion, or roughly 1/3 of its market cap. A third. Okay. Also argued that, among other benefits, streaming services, Disney Plus could help boost Apple TV Plus streaming service. Disney Plus could solve Apple's content problems, as we believe Apple TV is off to a relatively slow start. Apple's stock on Friday jumped 12% to $277 per share amid a market rebound, while Disney's rose about 11% to $102. Now, okay, a couple of different things we got to get into with this, okay? This is very, very wild stuff. Let's take me back into the chat. Take me home to the jet setting. Okay, so a couple of different things are going on here. Number one, the entire market is going through one of the craziest things that I've ever seen. These are absolutely astronomical, ridiculous drops in the economy. Yesterday, when the market opened, within 60 seconds of it opening, it had plunged so far that the emergency stoppage took place. Okay? Emergency stoppage. The United States government has injected around $2.5, $2.7 trillion into the economy over just the past couple of days or weeks to try to do what's called quantitative easing and to try to help the marketplace stabilize. Literally, none of that worked. Okay? So the first piece of this puzzle, as far as understanding why this could happen, is you have to understand that this drop, what's going on with the market right now, is ridiculous. It's really unprecedented, and depending on where you come from, potentially way worse than what happened in 2008. Okay? So, horrible drop in value. If you look at Disney, and you look at the majority of ways that they make money, their revenue streams. They have parks, they have entertainment, and they have merchandise. Well, almost all of those are going to be severely impacted with what's going on right now globally. Nobody's going to the parks are shut down. Potentially nobody's going to the movies, and we're going to talk about this in a second here because, again, I think there's an opportunity for Disney to potentially release Black Widow via digitally, which, by the way, Universal is looking to do right now. Okay? So take all of the things you thought were possible and all of the conceptions you had about how the marketplace is going and what's going on from like a week ago and throw it in the fucking trash. Because we're in a whole new world. Whole new world. So, Disney's stock is being devastated, just like a lot of other stocks are being devastated, but particular to Disney, it looks real bad. And I know in your mind you might be like, oh, well, Apple and Disney are both like the biggest companies ever. Definitely not true. Definitely not true. Apple is a massive company, massive company. And they technically have, as a lot of people have talked about, between 80 to 120 billion dollars that's liquid that they can just literally use. Okay? And so if your Disney shareholders, which remember, the shareholders have a lot of the power, and they're seeing that their value within this company is literally evaporating, it might behoove them to literally sell, control and to be absorbed into sort of a way to maybe possibly cash out, in which Apple would acquire the company. And part of that deal would be straight dollar bills, y'all. Because a lot of these big deals, like when when Disney bought Star Wars, most of that was in stock. You know what I mean? The same thing in the Fox purchase. The purchase of Fox, most of that $1 billion, I think it was like something like 80 billion, was in stock. Right? So a lot of that value is currently disappearing. It's currently evaporating into the ether. And so Apple has a real opportunity, because technically their revenue streams and the strength that they have as a company is not being hurt and impacted as much as it is for Disney. People are still going to need cell phones. People are still going to need technology. The ecosystem that Apple has created is very strong. People are still going to get their AirBuds. And a lot of that stuff is still viable in the current state of the economy, right? So Apple coming out of this way better than Disney is. So what was thought of as completely impossible maybe 4 days ago is now totally possible. It's totally possible. And so another reason that I think that this could actually work here is because Apple and Disney have actually flirted with this idea before. In Bob Iger's book, Journey of a Lifetime, which again, Bob Iger getting out at a pretty good time as far as CEO. Being the chairman and working on creative and everything like that, he'll still be able to do that and have a lot of fun. That's being impacted as well, but like, dude, this would not be a fun time to be a CEO. But in Bob Iger's book, when he's talking about Steve Jobs, Steve and him had actually had discussions about possibly combining the companies. In fact, Bob Iger went as far as to say that if Steve Jobs was still alive today, at the time of writing his book, they would have probably merged those companies already. The companies would have been already merged. So there's a lot of precedence. There's a lot of friendliness between them. Pixar is already owned by Disney, purchased from Jobs and Apple. So that could work. I also think that it actually makes sense when you think about it in the market, because the two companies could really work well together, especially when you think about what the future of the economy is going to look like. And not just because of what is going on right now, but because of the changes in the marketplace as we move forward. Everything was going to go digital. And, even things like the parks are really starting to integrate a lot with technology. A lot of the rides are technology-based. A lot of the experiences and attractions are technology-based. A lot of the ways in which the park organizes itself and has tickets and fast track and all these things is technology and app-based. A lot of the hotels and particularly the high-end stuff, like where they were going to do with the Disney stuff, or rather with the Star Wars stuff, with the ships and things like that, it's more and more viable. It's actually, I think, a very good marriage, where you could get all of the Disney IP and the Disney attractions and the things like that combined with the technology and hardware that Apple has available. I really do think that it makes sense, actually, when it comes to like the parks and it comes to that sort of stuff. As far as the content itself, if we're really going into this all digital world, if we're going to start to do that, Apple has a great leg in. You know what I mean? Disney and Apple also have a very strong brand as far as the people that are into it and the people that are not. Now, I know there are people out there that are very anti-Apple. A couple of our producers that are anti-Apple. I love Apple. I don't own any Apple products though. So I'm not in the Apple ecosystem, but I'm a huge fan of Steve Jobs. Like, from the entrepreneurial side of things and like the business and thinking about those sort of things, I am blown away by Steve Jobs. I think he was really, quite literally, a Da Vinci of our time. He was a huge asshole, but he was a genius. You know what I mean? And I really respect that. And I like in a lot of ways what Apple does. I'm not a huge fan of the closed loop ecosystem that they have. I'm an Android guy. I'm a Windows guy. I like to have the ability to tinker more and to have just more third-party apps and things like that. But I respect Apple. I have zero problem with Apple. I think that Apple, from a branding perspective, has done very well. And Disney has that thing where it's like people just love Disney, man. If they're a Disney fan, they love Disney, There are people that currently hate Star Wars and hate Disney Star Wars that are still huge Disney fans. Some of them have big YouTube channels and yell at you on their microphones. They admit it. They love Disney. And so this could really make a lot of sense, folks. And I think, I saw some people talking about how this has been in the works and this pops up every couple of years. Yeah, absolutely. But now would be the time to do it. You know what I mean? Now would be the time to do it. So, I don't know. You let me know what you guys think in chat, obviously. We could talk about this a little bit more. But I think it makes sense in a lot of different ways. I don't know how much it would actually impact the that Disney quality. I think from a branding perspective, Apple and Disney are kind of aligned in that sense. Violet asked, how would it affect Disney's content? I don't really see it affecting Disney's content much at all, to be honest. I think Apple would look at what Disney is doing with their content and say, hey, this is all really good. Keep doing this. What we're going to do now is bring more people into the ecosystem. Like every Apple device, coming with Disney Plus pre-programmed, like all those sort of things that they can do. They can create a quality of life scenario for people that are a part of the Disney family that perhaps want to be now in the Apple family, or people that are in the Apple family that now want to be a part of the Disney family. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Lavis says villains don't even use iPhones as the bad guys in their movie. And that just kind of shows like that Apple thing and that Disney thing is true. Salute Your Shorts says Disney is not hurting for cash. Brother, that is factually false. That was true maybe a week ago. By the way, Disney was already on a decline. Despite being one of the best performing studios in Hollywood, their parks it was already hurting. Their cash flow was already hurting. And I don't know if you've taken a look at the stock market recently, but salute your shorts. You are dead wrong. Disney is not hurting for cash. Literally, cash is exactly what they are hurting for. They're not liquid. They are not very liquid as a company. You know what I mean? And that just shows you how fast things can change like that. Like that. Yeah, it's a take everything you thought you knew a week ago and throw it in the fucking trash. We don't know. We're in a new world. Yeah, no, the IP. I hear you, Salute Your Shorts. I get you. The IP is valuable. They just spent $80 billion on IP from Fox. I get you. I do agree that the IP is valuable. They don't own everything. Look, Salute Your Shorts. I am not ass-pulling this information. This is coming out from a lot of people that are professionals, that do this for a living, that analyze what's going on. I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but I'm saying that it's being talked about. It's in the news. It's more possible than ever. Disney is getting annihilated. Annihilated. And the long-term macro projections on this could be terrible, because what people aren't talking about is, okay, so we round the bend on this, let's say in the next 4 months. You still have to consider a world in which it's still out there, people are still getting it, and travel is still being restricted. Not to mention the impact of how people are going to be able to spend the money that they do have once they are affected by what is going on right now. If people lose a lot of money, if they're trying to rebuild, if the economy is in a very rough spot, if there's massive layoffs because people at the top are losing billions, I highly doubt many people are going to be taking vacations to Disneyland. I highly doubt people are going to be spending money to go to the movie theaters to see these things. You just got to think about it a little bit more. You know? I mean, what the heck is ESPN going to do? You know, I see people talking about that. Yeah. Netflix is in a worse spot than Disney. I disagree with that, Mav, because Netflix's cash flow is so strong. Netflix's cash flow monthly is ridiculous. I would say the only way you can make that argument is because of the current investments that they have made and the potential for that to pay off in the short term. But the cash flow for Netflix is crazy town. It's crazy town. The amount of people that actually unsubscribe to Netflix, even if they're not watching Netflix, is really low. Yeah. And Netflix, by the way, gonna be super important for the next few months. People will be watching the shit out of Netflix. So I disagree with that. I disagree, sir. But that's okay. Because who knows? I'm just some guy on the internet. If you smash that like button, you get a year of good luck. Smash the like button, mofos. All right, so let's go into another interesting topic, and then we'll get right into Q&A. Weird show today. Weird times. Okay, so check this out. This is coming from comicbook.com. It seems like NBC Universal has decided on a new way to combat the effects of that thing that shall not be named, as much of Hollywood has been ground to a halt due to the spreading of the virus. By the way, I saw projections that it could be $20 trillion that the entertainment industry loses. 20 trillion with a T dollars. So that's why Universal Pictures has decided to make its most recent film releases available at home from on demand, making it a first for Hollywood and its big-time studios. As recently reported by The Hollywood Reporter, Universal will begin making its most recent movies and immediately upcoming titles available on demand. They will go live from home on the same day they would hit in theaters, which have stayed open during the situation. Given the rapidly evolving and unprecedented changes to consumers' daily lives during this difficult time, the company felt that now was the right time to provide this option in the home as well as in theaters. NBC Universal will continue to evaluate the environment and conditions and evolve, and will determine the best distribution strategy in each market when the current unique situation changes. Universal Pictures has a broad and diverse range of movies, with 2020 being no exception. Rather than delaying these films or releasing them into a challenged distribution landscape, you know what that means? Ain't nobody going to the fucking theater. We wanted to provide an option for people to view these titles in their home that is both accessible and affordable. We hope and believe that people will still go to the movie theaters where available, but we understand that for people in different areas of the world, that is increasingly becoming less possible. Currently, these movies are expected to hit on-demand services for a 48-hour rental period after purchase. The suggested retail price is $19.99, with films like Trolls World, The Hunt, The Invisible Man, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Guys, did you watch the show yesterday? Put me on the big screen, chat. Did you watch the live stream yesterday? It's almost like exactly what I talked about yesterday for Black Widow. A $20 rental fee. Now, I said probably 24 hours. They're going 48 hours. I think that's generous. I think that's a fairly good deal with all things considered. So $20 to get a movie for 48 hours, a new film. This is literally what we talked about yesterday for Black Widow. And remember, yesterday the big question was, why haven't they delayed Black Widow yet? What is Disney thinking? Well, besides thinking, holy crap, are we all about to be Apple employees? They're probably thinking, how can we mitigate the amazing amount of losses that we are currently experiencing? I think delaying the film to a date which still could see its gross impacted by what is going on. Because as I continue to say, it's not just this time period of social distancing that we have to worry about. After that, everybody's still going to get this thing. And there's going to be a lot of people that don't even want to go out, that are restricting the ways in which they interact with the economy because of it. A way that you could get some money coming in, help inject some cash flow, is to put Black Widow on Disney Plus, allow people to rent it for $20 for 24 to 48 hours. So what we talked about yesterday, which was kind of very speculative, today looks to be a good idea. A really, really good idea. So it's just wild, right? Like we were literally just talking about this. And now it appears not only possible, but probably a really good idea for them to consider. You know what I mean? So, look, I don't know how else to explain how crazy things are, other than to tell you that Apple could literally buy Disney. Ridiculous. We might now be getting movies that were going to be in the theater released day and date at home on demand. So 2020, you're off to a great start. 2020, you're doing something. You're doing something. And so now, guys, let's just get into Q&A. Let's get into Q&A. We got plenty of time to talk about stuff. Let's just get into it. Let's talk about it. Let's see what's going on. You know? Let's see how we're all feeling. I know there's been some discussion in the chat about some of the things I've already talked about today. I haven't been paying super great attention to the chat, but now I'm all eyeballs on the chat, baby. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Black Widow. Let's see what June says. Black Widow can't win for nothing. First Ike Perlmutter, then A-Force Scene, then Captain Marvel, and now this. Yeah, but you know what? I see it a little bit. I feel like it could release digitally, and I honestly think, June, it could potentially make just as much as it would have in theaters, or potentially more, because you got to understand, due to distribution, due to the theater cut, and due to a lot of different things, the money that studios make from theatrical releases is about half of what they make domestically, and about a third of what they make worldwide. So that's why you hear crazy things sometimes where it's like, oh, this $150 million budgeted film has to make $600 million to make its money back. It's real shit. So like half of the money that you make in the States is gone, and you only get a third of the money you make overseas. That's about what it is. It varies, right? But that's about what it is. And so technically, think about this. More and more people around the world looking for something to do, wanting to experience. The whole thing about the MCU that's great is that it's communal. We all love it, and we all experience it together. If we can get a little bit of that back, and it can make a bunch of money for Disney and for the studio and for everybody that's a part of it, it could actually be a win amid a bunch of losses, admittedly, against a bunch of losses. Uh, yeah. I'd pay $100 easily for Widow today. Yep. FanJexer says, breaking, AMC theaters just announced they are closing all theaters for at least 6 weeks, potentially up to 12 weeks per The Hollywood Reporter. Could distribute summer blockbuster releases. Yeah, that doesn't even surprise me. You know what I mean? That really doesn't surprise me at all. But yeah, that digital release, man, looking to possibly be a thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, and even Mab says it could make Black Widow amazingly popular. I totally agree. If they just put the movie out there for permanent purchase at $29, I think it'd sell no rent. Now, that I disagree with. I don't think you can do that. I don't think you can do that. Because that just disrupts the whole thing. So imagine you sold sandwiches and you pay for the bread, you pay for the meat, you pay for the person to make the sandwich. And the whole idea is you sell the sandwich for this $15 amount. People come in, they eat the sandwich, they pay you the $15, and you're out. It would be like doing all of that work to make the sandwich and then just deciding to sell the sandwich like randomly for like $3. It would destroy the whole setup of that. It's a terrible analogy, I know. Terrible sandwich analogy. But it's just like if you just sell that movie right now, you're going to massively lose out. Massively lose out. It's like, well, why do you only get to purchase movies on digital at first and you can't rent them? It's the same idea. It's all a curve. It's like, okay, if you really want to get the movie immediately, if you want the most value, you have to spend that to get it in value. You know what I mean? When it dies down a little bit, then you can maybe rent it for a couple of bucks, and you still only get it for 24 hours. It has to do with value, and it has to do with the way the system is set up, all of the different people you have to pay throughout that system. I'd sacrifice war stew for that sandwich. Yeah, it's like selling steak for the price of a side of fries. Yeah. They need to make the billion they would have made if they would have released a theatrical release. I don't know if Black Widow was going to make... I don't know if Black Widow was going to make $1 billion. Yeah, I don't know if it was ever going to make $1 billion, to be honest with you. Now I want a sandwich. Thanks, Josh. Hey, by the way, too, just want to let you guys know if if you're part of the Den of Nerds fam and you're hanging out and you like the community and you want to just spend some time with us, tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're doing a gaming session here on the live channel. We're gonna start gaming Call of Duty, baby. I'm hoping that Russell will be coming on with me. I'm hoping that executive producer Al Schuler will be coming on with me. But if you play Call of Duty Warzone, which is free, by the way, on either PC, PlayStation 4, or Xbox, it's cross-platform, so we can all play together. So tomorrow at 4 p.m., and we're going to go at least 3 hours. So we're going to go probably at least until 7. Who knows? We could go longer. But we're just going to be eating snacks. We're going to be playing games. You know what I mean? Yeah, and Ryan says, support your local eateries. They're in a big crunch right now. Yeah, so if restaurants are still delivering, you should, as much as you can, try to support restaurants that are delivering if they're still open and delivering. In my area, a lot of things are shutting down, like completely for a while. But yeah, like honestly, and that's a whole nother can of worms, because that is an industry that's going to be pretty badly impacted by what is going on. there's going to be a lot of industries that are impacted by what's going on, and people losing a lot of money in the short term. You got like 26 euros in your bank account, can't afford delivery. Look, brother, I get it. I get it. Are you kidding? It's Marvel's second white female-led superhero film. Of course it'll break $1 billion, says Trinity. I don't know about that, bro. Oh, it's pounds? My apologies, Internet Sado. I'm one of those ignorant Americans. You know what I mean? I don't know all the difference. I don't know the differences. Cannabis industry isn't stopping? Not yet, anyway. Let's see here. Anthony says, can you please read my comment from before? Okay, Anthony, you have here, Josh, question, do you think it's too late for Harry Potter HBO Max TV series based on either the Marauders or following the kids from the main series after the war who had kids? I don't think it's too late. No, I don't think it's too late. It's hard to gauge that. I'm not really in the Harry Potter world. I know that that park in Universal does really, really well. I'm sure the IP still really does well. Fantastic Beast movies haven't been blowing up like the other movies were, but who knows? That could change. I think there's still a lot of value in the Harry Potter IP. So, yeah, I potentially think that could totally work. Wandering Dog asks, what game? My screen skipped on me. We're playing Call of Duty Warzone. It's free to play. If you already have Call of Duty, it's a very short little download, and you get your loadouts and stuff from when you were playing Call of Duty. If you never played Call of Duty or you don't have the own Call of Duty, then just download Warzone for free, and you'll be a little bit at a disadvantage, but not really. And honestly, tomorrow's just about having fun, man. We're just gonna get on it we're gonna start. We might rotate people out on stream. I think Russell will be on the 3 squad to start with, maybe even Al. So maybe it'll be like me, Al Schuler, and Russell for the first 3 squad. We'll start at 4. We'll rotate in and out. We'll all be in chat, just talking about it, playing games. No, it's free. Warzone is completely free, Russell. But the catch is that you have to download the entire Call of Duty. You have to download like 120 gigs, the whole Call of Duty game, and then you can't play it unless you purchase it, right? I mean, you can play Warzone in that mode. Can you read my last comment and let me know what you think? I think it's bad to release Black Widow on Disney Plus, and if they wait to release it, it will probably make $1 billion because the MCU has made $1 billion audience. I disagree. Look, I get what you're saying, but I think that it's not that they don't have the audience for it. It's that the audience they have is being impacted by this big crazy thing. Who's going to go out to the theaters? And first of all, it's impossible for it to make $1 billion at this point because the theaters are all closed, right? So let's just take that off the table. But what you're saying is if they delay it, then they pop it up later, and if everything's all good, we're all back to normal. Look, I'm not an expert, but I just simply don't believe that's going to happen. I believe even after this period of weirdness, things are still going to be affected. Maybe people don't have the money to go to the movies. Maybe people just still... Even if everybody tells them that it's totally fine, it's totally safe, go out there, live your life, be free, there will still be people that don't. You know what I mean? So I disagree, brother. It's not that they don't have the audience. And who knows, even if the completely perfect world, Black Widow still might not have made $1 billion. Its trailers were tracking lower than other trailers. Hype seemed to be a little bit down. So, yeah, the BR is free. What am I supposed to do with my billions of dollars in this mansion? Hold on to it. Maybe exchange it for some gold or some other things. I feel like we're in the timeline without the Soul Stone. Yeah, we might be. Bert Kreischer released his new Netflix special today. Ah! Nice. That's cool, man. I like Bert. Hypothetically, if you're working at Marvel Studios, who didn't introduce the first Illuminati or Midnight Suns? I think you mean who would I introduce as the first Illuminati? Okay. I think Doctor Strange needs to be a key component to the Illuminati. I think Reed Richards, when Reed comes into the MCU, he should be a key component to the Illuminati. I think Charles Xavier could be, and we talked about this a little bit last night on the community stream. Had a great time on the community stream last night, by the way. Just fan casting the X-Men and stuff. We'll do another one next Monday. Make sure you're there for that. It's very fun. So yeah, those would be my choices. Obviously, I would have said Tony Stark, but he gone. Yeah, I would say those would be my choices. T'Challa is a good choice. It would depend on if he really wanted to join that or not. But T'Challa would be a good choice as well. Yeah. And Namor. Yeah, that would be very interesting if they had Namor and T'Challa on there as well. Bruce Willis as Xavier. Man, that would be crazy. The coolest Xavier that we had last night was people were talking about Jason Statham. Jason Statham as Professor X. Can you imagine Professor X roundhousing people? Wouldn't that be wild? Rami Malek as Professor X. Interesting, Internet Sato. Very interesting. Yeah, that could be cool. Dave Bautista? That's ridiculous. Rami Malek is an incredible actor. He could be Professor X. That'd be a very interesting Professor X, I gotta tell you. Dr. Zola did nothing wrong. Jeez, man. The Rock as Professor X would be so funny, dude. Yeah, I love Dr. Robot, actually, Internet Sato. It's great. Dr. Zola is the godfather of the MCU. I don't know why you'd be hating on Tony Stark. I'm a huge Tony Stark fan, Trinity. If you don't like Tony Stark, you wrong. Was Professor Xavier Scottish or American in the comics? I don't even know. That's an interesting question. Tony Stark ain't shit. As long as Jeremy Conrad is Taskmaster. Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. When do you think Avengers 5 will release? 2023 or 2024? Yeah, I'm kind of thinking 2024, honestly. Kind of thinking 2024. Bernthal would be a great Wolverine. That's true. I also think Carl Urban could be a great Wolverine, and I know he was the Destroyer, but like, forget all that. Just bring him in, man. Just bring him on in. Bring him on in. The Rock has Ben Grimm. Hey, that could be cool. I know he was the executioner, Hector. I don't care. If they can have Jenna Chan play different people in the MCU, then they can have Carl Urban as well. Carl Urban as Dazzler? GTFO, bro. Charlie Hunnam is a great choice. Eddie Murphy as Nightcrawler? Interesting. I heard that they're going to release Avengers 5 on vinyl because of virus. Hey, it's possible. It is possible. Who do you think the next big bad of the MCU will be? Will it be Galactus? I don't think it'll be Galactus. I would love for it to be like Doom or Norman Osborn. The big rumors going back to late last year was that Marvel Studios' plan was to actually have two big bads, to have a big bad out in space and to have a big bad Earthbound. And the potential rumors were that Norman Osborn or some equivalent character was going to be the big bad on Earth, and there was going to be something else going on out there in DOS Galaxy. Daniel Craig for She-Hulk? Maybe. Look, folks, I think the situation out there in the world is affecting some of our brains. There's some weird choices. Just log in IG to buy Apple and in turn purchasing all of Marvel. Huh? To check that out. Which X-Men do you have for Daisy Ridley? None of them. I like Daisy Ridley. I'm sure she's a very awesome person. I do not think she's that great of an actor. Hey, having fun with it is the way to go, man. The black guy in Tenet is Denzel Washington's son. What's the MC version of Pornhub? I don't know, bro. Josh is Nightcrawler. I'd love to be Nightcrawler. Imagine Apple buys Disney, though. Instead of Disney buying everything, now it's Apple. I know. For real. Do you think they'll change the X-Men or find a new way to introduce the name? I think they will stay with the X-Men. I'm going to be very disappointed if they don't stay with X-Men. X-Men is great. X-Men's so classic. I mean, come on. Like, you're going to just change the name like that? Get the fuck out of here. Which movie would make more money, Black Widow or Wonder Woman? I actually think Wonder Woman will make more money than Black Widow. I mean, now it's a total toss-up. But, like, you know, if we were living in the regular world, I actually think Wonder Woman would make more money. The X individuals. Star Wars Santa asks a very interesting question. What's the chances that drive-in theaters could get a revitalization due to social distancing? Probably pretty low, brother. Probably pretty low. You know, I know you and I have a nostalgic love for that, but I mean, think about it, man. These kids don't care about that. These kids don't want to go drive to a place and sit in their car with a bunch of other cars. These kids don't care. X-Wokeness starring Victoria Alonso. Hey, look, it could happen. And that would super turn me off. That would really turn me off. Yeah, so Anthony has a very interesting one here. It says Xavier, Giancarlo Esposito, and Magneto as Denzel Washington because of the characters based off the M. Okay, here's what's really interesting. Not only do I absolutely love that, but as I was thinking about the characters last night, you know, and even before that when we were really, I mean, we did this fan casting thing, and so, you know, been thinking about it, right? It's not just that I think it would work because of the parallels and them being black and things like that, but I just straight up think they're potentially some of the best actors for the job. Like, take the race thing out of the equation 100%. I literally think there's some of the best actors for those roles. Giancarlo Esposito as Charles seems amazing to me. Denzel Washington, Magneto, the more I thought about it, the more I was like, dude, he would slay. He would slay. So, yeah, I'd be totally down with it. And honestly, I would get out my kayak, and I would just kayak upstream of all the butthurt fanboy tears. As the butthurt fanboy tears flooded out into the streets over them race-changing fictional characters, I'd be all smiles as I kayaked up the river of butthurt fanboy tears. That's what I would do. How do you feel about more comic book accurate Wolverine with Peter Dinklage? Peter Dinklage is great, but Danny DeVito would be much better. Danny DeVito would be much better. If this is still based modern day, how could they keep Magneto's Holocaust roots? He would be 90-something, yeah? So a couple of different ways that they could do it, and I think that's another interesting aspect with the racial thing. But, like, he could be a student. Here's what I would do. You guys want to know what I would do? What I would do is make it so something happening in the post-snap world because of the mutants or something going on, that, like, mutants are being quarantined. Or there's some crazy thing going on in the MCU where there's, like, concentration camps of, like, mutants right now. And obviously it wouldn't be as brutal as back then. But what you do is you make Magneto. Denzel Magneto is a history professor, and he's studied humanity and how awful we can be to each other. You know, the Holocaust as a big example of that. And he could be a Jewish, like half Jewish, right? Keep the Jewish thing. His ancestors suffered, not only like his black ancestors, obviously, but the Jewish ancestors that he had suffered. And then there's something actually going on in the here and now that is like an example of that kind of oppression in the present day. And then he like breaks out of that. I think that would be a really good way to do it. Isn't that basically the plot of the New Mutants? I believe it might be. Michael B. Jordan as Wolverine? I don't really see that, though. They could have the X gene slow aging. Yeah, but the problem with that is if you do the mutants slow aging, then they've been around. Why haven't they been mentioned and stuff? You know what I mean? And I think to a degree they have been around, but maybe only for like the last like 10 years, or like there's been a very small amount of them. You know what I mean? That's what I would do. How do you think Adam Warlock will be brought into the MCU? I mean, I think that's pretty simple. He'll be brought in the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie that James Gunn does. It's a little far ways off now, but that's probably when he'll be in there. Yep. All right, folks, we're going to call it there, okay? Thank you guys for participating in the stream, coming over here, just hanging out. We're going to be here all week, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's when we be streaming. And we will be streaming. Tomorrow at 4 p.m., we're doing our video game stream, so we'll be streaming at 10. Then I got to, like, knock out a video real quick and then get to the stream at 4. That's going to be super fun, so come on by for that. Get Call of Duty Warzone downloaded on either your PC, your PlayStation, or your Xbox if you want to come game with us. If not, it's no big deal. You can just come and hang out. And, yeah, that's going to do it for today. Look for some dope videos dropping on the main channel later today. I hope you guys have an awesome and a nerdy day, as I always say. And, Chet, roll that outro video. Come on, bro. It's not even funny at this point. It's not even funny. People know that you're just